How we doing there, boys and girls? Mathis here. Welcome back to another video. So this is a different style of video for me, at least on this specific channel. Yet we're going to talk about it anyway because it's got the Warcraft tag, and I'm quite sure in the upcoming days and weeks some of you will at least be interested in this. This is Warcraft Rumble, and Warcraft Rumble has been soft launched to a few countries like Canada, Philippines, luckily for me, Finland, which is where I live at the moment. And so some people have had a little bit of a chance to play through this, and I've been playing it probably more than I should be, but I've been playing it a little bit in the last week, as it's predominantly a mobile game and it's just handy, right? I want to get a few things out of the way before we get too deep into this. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not being paid for my opinions here. It's often a common thought when you start talking about mobile games sort of stuff. This is not a Raid Shadow Legends-esque sponsorship. This is just me talking about another game that's coming out from the Blizzard franchise. And especially considering that in the not-so-distant past, we had Diablo Immortal turn up, and what a shit show that was. So I want to talk about a few things with this game and give people a bit of an overview to what's going on with it. Three main aspects I probably want to talk about in this video. It's going to be the basic gameplay loop. What are you going to be doing? Why would you want to be doing it? And is it any fun? We're going to talk about the progression aspect of it, and that will lead nicely into the monetization aspect of this game. So, firstly, the gameplay aspect of it. The gameplay is pretty fun. There's no denying that it's quite fun. It's a mini tower defense game. If we load into a game, let's see if I can wombo combo do two things at once, play the video game and talk. You basically have a team of what they call minis, and these are troops that you can place. Each troop has a cost, and your gold slowly increases. The object is to usually kill the boss on the map. In this scenario, we have a dragon that's rotating round. There's a big golem coming out. We can send our kobolds out to collect some gold if we so wish. I am probably not going to win this because I'm trying to do two things at once. But there are some interesting twists and mechanics to this to make it quite fun. You can snowball your abilities if you're good enough and you know what you're doing. And you can, do all sorts of silly things like spawn 20 kobolds at once. We're probably going to get absolutely destroyed by this dragon here. Let's drop a tanky character down behind to maybe distract. No, he absolutely destroyed us. But this is the main gameplay loop. Each round is about 2 to 3 minutes. Well, I think the timer's actually 3.5 minutes. And then it does go into overtime. So your game length is probably 2 to about 4 minutes long, depending on how well you do with this. And as you can see, you can go around, you can collect stuff. It's pretty fun. This is one thing I would say about the game, that it is actually quite enjoyable. Clash Royale might be springing to mind for some of you out there, and this is very, very similar to that. It's definitely drawn some influence from Clash Royale. I think that's made by Supercell. There's definitely some influence that has come from there. It's a very similar concept and does pull some very similar gameplay aspects of it. Now, I'm going to say one thing. I am probably going to be slightly biased here, even though this is not a paid and not sponsored video or anything like that, predominantly because it's Warcraft themed, right? After playing World of Warcraft for a bunch of years, it's kind of quite cool to just drop down a Tauren or a stabby rogue, or it's got similar graphics, similar art style, and it is just quite fun. I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to get our ass handed to us here. Can we sneaky behind this dude? Let's distract him so he doesn't flame us. Oh, we might have this. Look, we might have this. We got it. We won. Victory. And so that's the main sort of gameplay loop of this, and every time you play a little game you get a little bit more experience to one of your, what the game calls minis, or one of your characters, and you rinse and repeat, and you can slowly level your characters up. There's the normal rarity system that we see in World of Warcraft: common, uncommon, rare, epic, and even I think you can get your minis to legendary level eventually. So it's kind of quite cool. I've spent a little bit of time over the last week and I've unlocked a whole bunch of the different minis and leveled a whole bunch of them up. You can see some of them, like my Hog Rider, for example, or Warsong Raider. Hog Rider, I think, is the name from Clash Royale. Warsong Raider is leveled up. He's now uncommon, and when you do level them up to different rarities, they get extra traits. This leads me on to sort of the progression aspect of the game. The progression starts off really rapidly. You quite quickly get access to a whole bunch of different minis and you start putting your teams together. Your team is comprised of one main leader and 6 troops. And there are some special sort of synergies that can occur as you level them up a little bit further. You start off with not many missions to do. You start off, I believe, over in Elwyn Forest, and you start killing things in Elwyn Forest. And as you complete the nodes on the map, which are the most, for the most part, what are considered campaign quests, every time you complete one, you'll start unlocking more sigils. And this is just like a level, a little bit like of a rank. As you unlock more sigils, you unlock more features. Up until about level 20 is mostly sort of tutorial-ish-esque. It's showcasing you new stuff. You unlock quests at 14. You unlock the ability to go do PvP battles at level 8. So far, after about a week or so of play, I'm in the late 50s, and I'm sure as time goes on, I'll unlock more and more and more of these. But you start in one zone, you complete the campaign quests. The campaign quests will often give you rewards, and eventually you unlock Heroic Campaign, which basically sends you right back to the beginning and makes you do it all over again, but with stronger minions to defeat this time, and more lucrative rewards out the back of it if you do complete the Heroic Campaign. This is just one aspect. There's also dungeons. Dungeons have been implemented yet. Raids are coming. Raids are not here yet, but raids are coming. The dungeons are pretty spicy. They're not simple. This is one thing I would say about the actual sort of difficulty level of the game. It's not a walk in the park. Now, we'll talk about probably why this is in a couple of minutes when we get to the monetization side of things, but it's not a walk in the park, especially the dungeons. I've, in many cases, vastly out-leveled the mobs in the dungeons, but still had difficulty with them. You have to build a team that is going to be good for 3 different scenarios, one after the other, which is one of the main sort of tricky points to this, which means even if you do out-level and you build a good team for the first stage, the second stage might absolutely smash you. And so you've got to kind of build a relatively average team that's going to work well for all 3 scenarios. And once you do, one of the nice bonuses you get is you get to upgrade one of your army trait slots. This is, you can see why some of the background on these is brown, and it's more brown on some of them than others. These is because these 2 characters I've been able to run the dungeons on this week, and the rewards for completing them is upgrading your sort of loadouts. Each one of these actually gives me +1 level to the troop that I put in there if the synergy is matched. So you put a Blackrock mini in a Blackrock slot, and you put a fast mini in a fast slot. Each different minis have lots of different traits. You can see the traits here, which ones that they will correspond to. And if you play a game of, you know, match it all together, you can end up with a quite powerful little army. And so the progression is simply that. You are going to complete the campaign quests as much as you can. If you need to grind some experience because you're getting stuck like I am right now, I'm at a point where I'm really starting to struggle to complete the campaign quests, so I need to level my minis up a little bit more to be able to achieve that. You start basically spamming quests, and obviously if you're good enough, the PvP side of things, you are going to find that you'll be pressing this button a lot, an awful lot, and this is what we'll talk about in a second with monetization. In fact, it leads quite nicely into the monetization, actually, because it is not a completely free game. The game is free to play, but it is definitely also pay to win. This is one of its clear drawbacks. Not an uncommon monetization system in a mobile game. The pay-to-win aspect of it is as such. You may have noticed at the top here, you have your coins, You progressively get drip fed these coins by completing the campaign quests. You may notice here that reward for completing this campaign quest, the first time you complete it, you get some coins. You are going to get a lot of these coins in the beginning, and you are then going to very quickly find that you run out of coins remarkably quickly, and this is where the monetization comes into play. Let's take a look at the store then, shall we? Let's see how all of this works. So in collecting your minis, the way you predominantly collect new minis and add new minis to your collection, and then obviously once you've built out your collection, level them all up, is through this grid system. I'm quite sure grid stands for something, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. You spend your coins in here. And if you already own the mini, and you may ask, well, why would you buy a duplicate mini? Well, this is how you level them up. My common huntress, for example, if I was to buy another one of these, I already own this mini. If I was to buy another one, instead of just getting a duplicate, I get a star. And the more stars you collect, after 3 stars, you can take a common one and convert it to uncommon. Then I think it goes from 3 to 10 that is needed. If we take a little bit of a look at this one, yeah, you need 10 to take it from uncommon to rare. Probably an awful lot more to go from rare to epic, and probably a ridiculous amount to get from epic to legendary, if that's even possible. Does it say here? It doesn't tell me exactly how many we need. But you need to purchase duplicate versions of your minis to slowly combine them and level them all up. Now, obviously, if you run out of coins, you are going to maybe want more, and surprise, surprise to nobody, this is where they will try and extract some money from you. If you want to speed up your progress in the game, there is absolutely the ability to buy more coins, and the more coins you get, the quicker you can spend them. There are obviously the occasional special offers that are more valuable than just buying the coins outright. That's done very deliberately. And of course, there are daily deals, daily offers that pop up. As you first enter the game, you might only have access to like 1 or 2 of these. Once you've leveled up past like 40 or so sigils, you get access to all of them because, you know, hey, spend more money, right? These are going to give you big chunks of experience, and is going to mean you can progress faster. Cutting out less of the grind per se. Grinding is in essence just repeatedly doing quest after quest after quest after quest after quest, and of course that's going to get boring relatively quickly. I did some maths actually, as I do love me some maths. I did some maths and figured out that if you actually wanted the amount of experience that's offered on the daily offers, the amount of experience that here is 7,500 plus another 8,500-ish roughly. For me to be able to acquire that same amount of experience by doing quests, I would need to complete somewhere in the region of about 250 quests. Now, considering each time you do a little mission, it's going to take you between 2 and 4 minutes. As you can see, to completely 100 free to play this game and to keep up with somebody that's doing just buying the daily offers, yeah, you're going to be playing this a lot if you go the entirely free to play option. That's the nature of most of these little games though, but it is entirely plausible to play it free to play and have fun with it and get somewhat through the game. Now, time will tell just if it sort of ramps and scales beyond ridiculous levels. I've already noticed myself personally hitting sort of level 10 with a bunch of my minis has really started to slow down the progression for me. Very much clearly designed to incentivize me to start spending. But you don't need to. This is the telltale of it. You don't necessarily need to if you don't want to. But there we go. That's basically my little overview of, as it stands at least, Warcraft Rumble. I still desperately want to say Arclight Rumble, even though the word Arclight has been removed from the name of this. But it's a fun little mini game, considering that it predominantly is on your phone. It means in that off time when you're not necessarily at your PC, you can be playing this. It's probably a good thing to note, actually. I'm using a little application on my desktop called BlueStacks, which allows me to simulate a Android interface on my desktop, and it seems to run pretty smoothly through there if you do want to play this on the desktop as well. But I'll leave it there for this one, boys and girls. If you want to see more footage from this, by all means, let me know in the comment section down below. I know it's not the usual World of Warcraft goal-making content I produce, but it's on my radar, and I've been playing it a little bit, so I thought I might give you guys a heads up. And especially considering once it goes global release, there's a good chance that Blizzard will do some promotions or pushing or advert, they'll try and push people to play it in some way, shape or form, so I was getting in there nice and early. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, consider subscribing if you're new around here, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace!